Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Hines on Air, your weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and real-life entrepreneurial stories. I'm Matt Hines, your host, and I'm excited to have you join me on this journey. From building a successful law firm to venturing into other industries like real estate and social media, I've experienced both the triumphs and the challenges that come with entrepreneurship. I've learned firsthand the importance of resilience, adaptability, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. On Hines on Air, we're diving deep into the world of business, law, and personal growth. Join me as I chat with incredible guests who have faced adversity, defied expectations, and achieved extraordinary success. We'll discuss their strategies, their mindset, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply someone looking for a little inspiration, Hines on Air is for you. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave a review whenever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us reach more people and continue sharing these incredible stories. Let's get started. This program is being sponsored by Bravos Leadership. Bravos Leadership is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and other business-minded people achieve their goals in business and expand their companies. They provide insight through motivational talks, inspirational stories, but also practical applications of management techniques that you can use to help you grow your company. Information regarding sales, organization, management, and all areas of the company are taught so that you can have a thriving company. Visit bravosleadership.com and find out more information. All right, everybody, it is Hines on Air. We're back at you again. Today, I think we have one of the most fascinating shows we've had in a while. We got Dr. Robb Kelly on the program with us today. He is an expert in addiction, trauma, and burnout, but just tremendous life experiences that he brings to the table. So he's recovered himself. So he had some issues with alcohol, which I'll let him discuss, overcame it on his own, and now has gone on, got his doctor's degrees, and has helped over 5,000 individuals recover from the addiction. And also, is a fabulous number, Dr. Kelly, that I saw, 97% success rate. That's quite a statement. So I would love to hear more about that. But anyway, he's also, another fascinating thing, he's also been on CBS's show called The Doctors. So he is an expert recognized by many different people. So Dr. Robb Kelly, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be here. Guys, this is going to be a good one.
All right. We're ready, man. We're ready. Well, I tell you what, why don't we start, I guess, kind of from the beginning. Take us through what you were going through and how you recovered.
Well, I took my first drink at the age of 9 of some musical family. Nobody knew anything about alcoholism,
right.
But that first drink set that ball rolling. And many, many years later, of course, I got married, 2 children, and then it hit like crazy. And there's some crazy stuff happened in that house when I was married. I eventually lost everything, my children, my business, my medical license in England, and became homeless. There's lots of talk points in there, but that's basically what it was. I was on the streets for about 14 months, left abandoned, and it was quite a scene, to be honest.
Yeah, I would imagine. So what your family just says, we can't handle you anymore, you're too out of control, you got to go, or what caused the separation?
Well, in layman's terms, again, yes, they did. But let's break that down a second.
Yeah.
I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish my bottle of vodka. I stole from my parents. I write checks, bad names to get alcohol. All this stuff happened in the house. I fell on my kids, drunk. And, it was just out of hand that the only thing they could do is distance themselves just for their sanity, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Because I was crazy. I just didn't see it, of course, because we don't while we're under the influence and in the groups of alcoholism. So when I finally got off the streets, I wanted to know what was going on. I wasn't happy to say, well, just stop drinking when I couldn't, just for your kids. I couldn't understand why I couldn't stop drinking. So when I came off the streets, we dove into the neuroscience behind what's going on. And we found lots of interesting things about building the brain and the subconscious brain. That literally, you can do anything you want in the world. So we work with depression, anxiety, entrepreneurs, podcasters, alcohol, addiction, Alzheimer's, all that great stuff today. So, but with a passion, because I didn't see my children for 30 years. My parents died because my mum got cancer. He was a lot quicker because of the pressures of me being on the streets.
Jeez, brother. Okay. What is it like? As you said, you were 14 months on your own on the streets. Like, where did you go? What do you do?
There's a shopping center in town, outdoor shopping center. It's called Piccadilly Gardens, and there is a huge garden in there. It's where the homeless hang out. So my younger days, I grew up on the project and I could fight. I was a fighter, boxer, karate, stuff like that. And I was also into bodybuilding. So when I got on the streets, I could handle myself. You know, I'd beat people up for money. I'd rob people coming out of nightclubs at 2:00 in the morning. If I couldn't do that, I'd steal alcohol blatantly. No one was going to come after me. But after a bit of a time, Matt, about 8 or 9 months, it got quite comfortable on the streets. I died twice on the streets, 7 suicide attempts, and I actually died twice on the streets, and they brought me back to life. And I hated them men for that. I really did, because I didn't want to live anymore.
Holy cow. When you said died, like heart stopped, no
Gone.
function in the body, like it was gone.
Flatlined. And they actually brought me back and twice? You think that one, oh my God, I died once? That should be enough. But no, it didn't stop me drinking. And I can't understand why until I figured out the neuroscience and the epigenetics behind addiction.
Okay, well, I hate to digress, but I got to ask now that you brought it up. Did you have any consciousness after the body died, and you could say the soul's still there or whatever? Like, what happened in that? I realize this is going completely off topic, but now that you...
One of the things I had was an out-of-body experience. And let's say this is the head.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sort of going up and looking down on my head. I was twisted around like this. So my head and my body were different, but my heads met, and I could see myself just lifting away from me lying on the ground. And then the next minute I knew, I woke up in hospital.
Gotcha. So you could see yourself?
Yes.
That's a common statement.
Yes.
That's not, yeah. Okay. Okay, my friend. So, all right. Okay, take us forward then. You recovered from the suicide attempts. Did you decide, or anyway, just take us through the chronology.
I had a huge spiritual awakening one day, or one night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was walking around the back ends of Manchester, where they were just factories and offices. There's not a human being in sight. It's early in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was raining, and I dropped down to my hands and knees after 14 months on the streets, and I was crying like a baby. Now, the interesting part is I wasn't crying because I'd lost my children or my houses. I was crying because that was the first time I realized I couldn't stop drinking. And I looked up to the sky and I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. 30 seconds later, a guy walked around the corner, and my life's been like this ever since. Walked around the corner, middle of nowhere, missed his last bus home from a Bible study. He's been walking for an hour, takes a shortcut he's never taken before, and came upon me. And he said, you need help? And I said, yeah, I'm dying. He was a recovering alcoholic. He was a Christian. He took me back to his house, and that's where my journey started.
Holy cow.
But that's not,
okay.
Matt, that he insisted, okay, that you've got to come to the AA meetings.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to AA meetings. He said, Rob, I can't have you drinking in the house. You've got to come. So it's a dry bed. So I went to AA the next night with him. And while I was there were people sharing, whatever. This guy said, my name's John. I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I looked at Derek and said, what did he just say? He said, I think he said he's recovered. You can't be recovered. What's he talking about? And I was a little angry at this guy because I couldn't stop. And this guy's blowing off that he's recovered. So after the meeting, I walked over to him and I said, hey, John, my name's Rob. Will you sponsor me? And he said, no, but I will be your spiritual advisor for a period of 12 weeks. I went round to that man's house for 12 weeks every Wednesday. Got there for 7. I couldn't get there before. 8 o'clock, he walked me out the door mid-sentence. It doesn't make any difference. 12 weeks I did that. And then the last time I saw him, he said, your life will change from tomorrow. So Derek's at work. I'm hoovering, cleaning, vacuuming. And he came home at lunchtime. He said, Rob, there's a part-time job. The guy who switched the floors just resigned. Do you want a part-time job? So I said, yes. Later that week, it turned into a full-time job. So when I got my first paycheck, everything that John says is going to come true came true. So I was going back. So I brought in a little teddy bear and a card. And I walked back to his house on the apartment on the second floor. And I got there, knocked at the door, no answer. the woman on the right hand came out and says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, where's John? Is like he's relocated or something?" She said, "John who?" And I said, "Your next door neighbor." And she went on to tell me that she works shifts and she's never seen anybody there. So I walked around to the left-hand side and banged on his door. Big guy come, "What do you want?" So where's John moved? "What are you talking about, John?" I said, "John, your neighbor." "John who?" I said, "Your neighbor." He said, "I've never seen anybody there." In actual fact, if you were to open that door now, there used to be yellow tape on it. But if you were to open that drawer, you would fall 2 or 3 flights down and kill yourself. So I'm like, these guys are weird. So I goes back to the meeting the next night and the chairman recognized me. And I thank goodness for that. I thought I was going crazy. And I said, "Chairman, you remember me?" "Oh, yeah, Rob, we remember you. Does John still come here?" And he said, "John who?" And I said, "The guy I was over near the coffee machine talking about being a spiritual advisor." And he smiled and he said, "Rob, you're over near the coffee machine speaking to yourself. We thought you were prey. We've never found that man, Matt." And when I started to get wealthy, I hired the best detective agency in Manchester and there was no trace. But stuff today I'm still doing is what he said would come true. And that is why we have a 98% success rate. Not the psychology, not the Oxford, not the Southampton, all that stuff. It's mostly what John taught me, which folds into subliminal messaging and neuroscience way before neuroscience came out. But that's what I've been doing. And I have 4 businesses today. I'm, doing really, really well. We help lots of people. We give money away. All this great stuff today. But he forecast that it would come true. And he called me a prophet before I left. And 3 weeks later, 4, 5, 6, whatever it was, started talking to a girl online in a Christian chat things. And she invited me over because their church in Plano, Texas, wanted me to teach the youth ministry. He had a crack cocaine problem. And here I am, 20
Hi,
years on.
Dr. Kelly, you have sort of glossed over something that's sort of blown my mind. Okay, let's go back to John. So you worked with him for 12 weeks, went to his house every Wednesday, had conversations with him at the AA meetings, and then they said he doesn't exist, that it was part of your mind working with itself, or?
Well, I only met John once at the AA meeting, and then I only met him on Wednesdays when I went round. But
Well, he came across the corner when you were in desperation.
No, that was Derek. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was Derek who found me, took me back to his house. We went to a meeting the next day, and I met John.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got it. Well, it's still throwing me for a loop. Okay, so John, so that's how it is. That is, as it stands right now, John did not exist. That was you sort of working it out with yourself.
Yeah, God, the self, universe, whatever it was, clicked, and everything fell into place. And when I work with people, they recover, and it's been like that for at least 16 years when we really started being serious about our practices. But yeah, it was, I class him now looking back as it must be some kind of angel. I would not tell that story for 10 years because people thought I'd be insane. They already thought it was insane anyway, bringing my program over here. They stripped me on my license when I came here because they said I was woo-wooing and I was hurting people. And today I lecture to those people.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, it's
well, it's hard to argue with results. When you got results, everybody else could shut the hell up. I mean, as long as you're not, people aren't dying in the testing of it and the efforts to improve it. But well, that's okay. That's amazing, man. All right, so break down, what is neuroscience? What does that mean for everybody?
So up until about 11 years ago, the medical fraternity thought that the brain was hardwired. That we had a brain, we had a central nervous system, and what we were taught is how it was meant to be for the rest of our lives. We spent over 1.5 million researching everything we've done in the last 15 years. So we knew that if we could change the neural pathways in the head, change the patterning in the head and the behavior patterning with the body, we could remold the brain to new patterns and thinking. So we found out that 300 neural pathways die every day. The question we put to our patients is, what are you replacing them with? So neuroscience is looking at what the mind, subconscious and conscious, and the brain are actually capable of doing, because we only know 10, 15%, or people do. And that's why the only probably 45 to 50% is what they are every single day, because they don't know they can get any better. They don't know they can go for that job. They don't know they could start your own empire. They don't know this because of learned behavior from childhood. So we become limited believers of what we can actually achieve. Well, like I say to anybody, you could be anybody you want, and you could do anything in the world that you want. When I came over here, people are like, well, I can't be president of the United States. Well, let's forget political views for a second. We had a business around the country with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. It's just not true. Somebody's put that there. So the in-depth research is changing 3 parts of the brain: the hypothalamus, the basal ganglia, and the amygdala. Change them 3, rewire old behavioral patterns that self-sabotage. When we have that, it's a connection. The mind is energy. When we connect with another energy outside us, universe, God, Uncle Jimmy, it doesn't make any difference, and we rewire the neural pathways inside the brain, our DNA changes. Why is that important? We're not the same guys we used to be. You see, most people have the capability of having 2 lives in one lifetime. It's just they don't know. You see, I never wanted to get to 80 years old, Matt, and look back to when I was 30 and 40 and realize there was nobody watching, and I really could have done anything I wanted to do, because I wanted to do it now, because we're capable of so much more. So it's a way of explaining and changing and repatterning and diverting and getting rid of the childhood trauma that we all have. Once we do that, we're set free and we become anything we want to be.
Listen, man, I'm right on board with you. I don't know if you ever heard of Dianetics and Scientology. I would assume you probably crossed paths with it sometime along the way. I'm heavily into that. And it's not so much about rewiring the brain as it is the mind and the person's ability to do whatever they want and be whatever they want. But certainly erasing the trauma and all is right. We're right there with you, man. When you say, so you said earlier the mind is separate from the brain. Is that a correct statement in your belief?
This is where it gets really clever or amazing. So the mind sits inside the brain, hence the saying mind over matter. The mind has 2 parts: subconscious, conscious. Lack of oxygen during sleep patterns. We wake up and the subconscious mind wants to run the body and the brain. That guy does not always do well. That guy wants to kill you and make you look like an accident if he can. We have to have a way, which we found, to slip in the conscious brain and get rid of this guy for 24 hours. When we come from the conscious brain, we can achieve anything. But after 24 hours or 12 hours of sleep, the 3 parts of the brain reset, and next morning wake up, the subconscious wakes us up. So the conscious and subconscious, when we wake up, are fighting for domination over your brain. If you don't do your morning work and you let the subconscious brain run the day, you're just going to be a normal person doing normal stuff in a normal 9 to 5. And that's your life. For me, anyway, it was wasted. You have to step into this and do the work. We're the only people that give a money back guarantee if this stuff doesn't work. There's nobody else in the world that does that. But we're confident after 11,000 patients and millions with my books and my TV and everything people have affected, is 100% guarantee what we do. And we're excited about it. We're talking to Robert Kennedy right now about this 9D modulation subliminal software we have. And we're going to introduce that. Our sister company is called Breathbox. That's where we introduced the 9D, which rapidly subliminal messaging changes the way the patterns work and pushes you forward into a life you never thought you would have.
This program is being sponsored by Law Offices of Matthew C. Hines. The Law Offices of Matthew C. Hines helped all individuals who have been involved in a car accident, who have been injured at work, or have been arrested or given tickets. We make sure your rights are protected and that you receive all the benefits allowed under the law. Visit us at www.hineslaw.org, hineslaw.org. Let me ask you a question. That is fascinating, by the way, and congratulations on your success. When this has always been said, we only use 10, 15% of our brain. And I've wondered exactly, what does that mechanically mean? Does it mean that 15% of the neurons are firing, or that only 15% can fire and the rest are just dormant? Or at one time we're only doing 15%, but the entire brain does fire off in the synapses? Like, what does that mean? Like mechanically break it down.
10% use of the brain is a myth.
Okay.
It really is a myth. So manageable, probably 50 or 60%. I like to call it 45 because it's right in the middle of -5. So we can reprogram, like I said, and we can use the brain. What happens to them neural pathways is they go dormant, they go gray, but it can be reconnected and reignited, as we found with our Alzheimer's patients right now. So there's 4 chemicals every day that need to happen inside your brain to be happy and to succeed in life. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. Most people know that.
Right.
But what you don't know is the neurotransmitters, the main ones, the dopamine and the serotonin, are created in the gut. So unless we're treating the whole body, you will never have that experience of performing at 100%. All this stuff needs to happen. That the myths about the brain and the mind is mind blowing when we find out what was really going on. It's like, yeah, what you know about addiction is not true. What you know about entrepreneur, it's not true. I lecture all over the place to entrepreneurs, to treatment centers, across the globe with any kind of psych injury or, we call it mental wellness, not mental illness. You can recover and you can go on and you can change the world, because that's what it's about. If you're not changing the world, go drink, man. Go drink.
What kind of success are you having with Alzheimer's?
Well, we've only been doing it for 4 months. We've seen a 13%, 1-3. I know you can't believe this. Scientific research, we test every week. 30% recall of short-term memory in a 4-month period with 3 patients. That's why we're talking to Robert Kennedy right now. Oh my God, that's impossible. Says who? Who says that dementia you finished, end of the world? Who's saying these things? Because I don't believe them.
Probably somebody making money off of pushing that crap. Whoever's making money off of that idea is
yes, exactly.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think a lot of psychiatry came from the idea that man is an animal and he's nothing but, I don't know, meat, and you just kind of get what you get. He salivates if you put meat in front of him, and he blah 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 blah. But it's not. He's a little more than that.
A lot more than that.
A lot more than that. That's right. Okay. How does somebody get involved in your studies if they're interested?
Easy, guys. Easy. Just go to the website and click on. There's a button there called "Talk to Me," and it comes right through to me, or call the offices. Just tell them you want to get involved, you want to try, you jump in. The 9-dimensional subliminal messaging is headphones, because it's a software and blackout mask. You can do that online. So if you're interested in changing the way you live permanently, then call up and just say, hey, Dr. Robb said I can have a free session if I call up, and we'll give you a free session. And after the session, you can make your mind up. But yeah, just call it. If you're listening, not watching, guys, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com, or Robb Kelly, Dr. Robb Kelly in any search engine. Come join us. Come have fun, guys. That's what it's about, having fun.
Okay. Well, I actually will be in touch. I have someone very close to me experiencing some Alzheimer's. So it's like, and it's like you said, right now, the current medical conclusion is, that is what it is. Once it starts, it's there. It's maybe we can slow it. Maybe, they don't have no good news, nothing optimistic.
There's no money in getting people well.
That's right.
The food industry gets us sick. The pharmaceutical company keeps us sick, and the money is to be made. If there is a well patient, there's a lost client or a lost customer. Guys, oh no, it can't be true. When's the last time you went to the doctor's? He gave you a medication, a pill or tablet, a pill to aid your ailment. You went home, you took the pill, it cured your ailment, and you never have to take the medication again. Yeah, I didn't think so. So it's all about the money.
That's right. I know.
Play that game.
I'm totally with you on there. I'm hoping that you mentioned that Mr. RFK Jr. is going to do something about that. But if anybody's going to do something, he is. So yes. I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm very optimistic.
I know all this politics I don't buy into, but nobody's done anything for me personally. I don't care who's in. But if we can change, I'm all about changing the world and saving lives. That's what we're about. Yeah. I could have retired 5 years ago. I want to save lives every day. I want to improve our mental ability to achieve anything we want to do. And we want to start building men again and women again to what we used to be like, straight thinking, single thinking people that can conquer the world. I mean, look at the stuff we used to do. We created empires. We made enormous buildings, all the steel where we build big things and created big things. And all of a sudden now we seem to have lost that. Everyone's in this humglum place. 80-90% of people in America are on medication.
Yeah.
People coming to me all the time, like they go, "Oh, doctor, I've severe depression." Okay. How long's that been going on? About 3 years. Okay. Do you take any medication for that? Yeah. I take depressed medication. When the hell did you think it was going to kick in?
Yeah.
You've been taking it for 3 years and you're still taking it. And that's the problem we have right now, is because the doctor prescribes it. I'll stay on it for the rest of my life. But you don't know what damage you're doing to your body.
And then they prescribe another one because that first one didn't do it. Now you're on 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Exactly.
That's a racket. That whole industry is crazy. So,
I tell you, you only got to watch the advertisements on TV, the commercials.
Yeah.
And if you turn the volume down and just look at the writing, one pill, okay, treats 20 or 30 other illnesses. Well, that doesn't sound right. And you may have heart attacks, you may die, but you're seeing the happy guy drinking a beer with his wife on a yacht somewhere. Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's right. We just did a presentation. It involved Ritalin. And 2 of the warnings on that bottle is may cause homicidal or suicidal thoughts. It's like, okay, well, you said this child couldn't concentrate, but now you got him on a drug that could make him want to kill other people or kill himself. Maybe.
ADHD is, for me, it's not deficit, it's an overload. It's not attention deficit, it's attention overload. And we can watch Gary Brecker explain that. We share patients together. But yeah, there's pharmaceutical companies right now. I mean, there's a new commercial every week because they're going to be banned, by the way. I know that from the source.
Yeah.
New medication every week. Like, have you got, for illnesses, I don't even know what they are. Have you got Smigly-Bigley's disease? Do your eyes look and go crossy now and again? We've got a medication for that also treats 23 other injuries or ailments. But it's like, what? It's crazy.
It gets voted on by a group of psychiatrists, and then it goes in the DSM-CH or Diagnostic Statistics Manual, whatever, and then there's a drug prescribed to treat it, and then it goes on the market. It's kind of, it's a corrupt system. I'm sure you know more than I do about it, but it's a corrupt system. But anyway, all right, let me touch on one thing, and then I unfortunately run out of time. Man, fascinating interview, my friend. You said earlier when we were talking about 15% of the brain that's being used, you said part of the neurons and the synapses that aren't transferring and transmitting information, they go dormant. And through your use of stimulus, mind strengthening activities, it can then force the brain to become more active overall.
Correct.
Okay.
We have videos of a camera that was inside watching neural pathways being created with the program, actually being created. So we believe that every neural pathway for health, wealth, success is already built inside the brain. There are billions. The idea is to connect them. But what people do because of trauma and fear is they keep missing the connection. It's like people will almost get that interview, almost sign the contract, and without them knowing, because of enmeshment and learned behavior by parents or caregivers, they'll self-sabotage that connection so it won't happen. And they convince themselves, well, I didn't get the job. I wasn't the best person. No, you self-sabotaged that, man, before you went in because you didn't think you were good enough. I got to tell you guys, you will never be tall enough, thin enough, blonde enough, or rich enough. And the quicker you understand that and stop living on, well, my dad was right, I'm a piece of crap. Stop that stuff.
Yeah.
And then watch your internal dialogue or drop a pen on the floor, you idiot. The subconscious brain will keep that. I'm an idiot, I'm a fool, it keeps it, right? And every single thing we see, touch, feel from birth is stored there in the subconscious mind. And do you know what? Some of that stuff's going to be released to the prefrontal cortex just before you get that job, the last interview, just before you start a business. And all that stuff will start niggling. Dad was right. You're a piece of crap. Who do you think you are? I still get it to like 1% now. Every now and again, I'll still get that imposter syndrome situation. And you just got to correct yourself. And you get back on track.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. In Dianetics, it's similar. What we call it the analytical and the reactive mind, but it's kind of similar to what exactly
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
that's fascinating. Very cool. All right. I said I was going to ask you one more thing, but it's actually two more. And here's the second. In your write up, it says performing on stage at age 9, you were working in Abbey Roads with Queen, David Bowie, and Elton John. So you got to give us a little bit of the behind the
So
story on
I
what was
was
going on.
born with a guitar in my hand because all my family's musical, and
Yeah.
I had a first guitar when I was like 4 years old. So I was playing professionally at 9. And then I formed bands through school. We had weekend bands, we'd play and stuff like that. And then one day, and the musicians will get this, you pack $5,000 worth of equipment into $1,000 car to travel 100 miles to pay $10. That's the way musicians work. One day, my friend said to me, "Can you fill in to do some session work?" And I was like, "Session work? You mean in a studio?" "Yeah, in a studio. Can you just cover for me for like a day?" So I went down to the studio. They had 6 pieces of music. Obviously, you have to sight read, played them all. He came out, he gave me an envelope and said, "Thank you so much, Rob. We'll use you again." Inside the envelope for about 3 hours, I was in there, and I don't remember much, but it was like $150 in there, and I'm getting paid $15 to travel all around. So now I want to become a musician, but a session musician. So I got a job at a studio in Manchester. And then I saw an advertisement for a bass player at Abbey Road Studios, where the
Wow.
Beatles come from.
Yeah.
So we had like 6 or 7 auditions, and I got the job. So I was lucky enough to play with, Elton John, David Bowie, Queen, Freddie Mercury on his own, all in great guys. That's where my cocaine use and my alcoholism really boosted, because you've got all the time in the world. But I'm going to college while I'm doing this, and it's paying for the college. It was just, my life's been crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
No kidding, man. Wow.
And today I work with the movie stars and musicians and, the FBI and all that great stuff. But I have 3 movie stars right now, and I love it when they first come, because the idea is this is how we're going to do things. And they go, "Yeah, but I don't work that way." "Well, get back on your plane and leave, because I don't give a shit if you come on board or not. But if you do come on board, I'll get you well. If you don't, I don't care. I don't need your money. Get back on the plane." And it kind of shocks them into, okay,
Right.
I'm told now, because they've had that. I'm too old to take any shit of anybody, Matt. I'm too old to worry about what people think about me.
Yeah.
I've found my identity. I have a program of staff around the world that work, and we succeed. And you either want it or you don't. And if you don't want it, I don't care. We've turned millions of dollars down for movie stars that wasn't ready. A female singer come to us. A dad offered me $1 million. This was 15 years ago, when $1 million was something. And she came up. She was drunk. She was late. And I said, "No, not doing it.
Why'd you say no?
This is a passion. It's not a job,
Right.
And at the time, just as a side thing, Matt, I had $300 in my bank account. That's all I had to my name. And I still turned that father down with the singer daughter, because
Why? Because she didn't have her heart in it. You thought she wouldn't follow what you were telling her? Or what?
Correct. And the next day, she was shaving her head. I don't remember. But it was crazy. But you have to pass an assessment to come on with us, whether you're coming to be an entrepreneur or whether you're an addict. You have to pass an assessment. And that's one of the things that sets the bar high, that we have such a high success rate. And if you're married, your wife or your husband must come on board as well. Because what we found is, let's say we get the guy's an alcoholic, he comes on board. When the wife comes on board for 2 days a week, he does 7. The success rate of the alcoholic or addict goes up by 42% alone, because she's doing her trauma work, he's doing his trauma work, and then we pull them together, and everybody's speaking the same language, and it's permanent, putting families back together again. That's what we love. Absolutely.
That's brilliant. And I'm sure if you didn't correct the other spouse, they may be restimulating the underlying issue all the time, like just keeping the wheel going. So they can learn what's sort of sparking it all. Okay, man, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Listen, congratulations to you on all you've done and all you've accomplished. That's amazing. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Hey, Matt, not finished yet. Not finished yet. We want to cure alcohol. We want to cure. We've cured addiction and all that. Can't cure alcoholism. We want to see a huge input in Alzheimer's and dementia.
Well, dude, we need you, brother. That last conquest. We need to I don't know, handle it. Because it's depressing when you listen to the current medical system right now. They're like, I've gone to, we were at Harvard one day, and this brilliant doctor was doing research on Alzheimer's, and she found out this, and she was doing these studies, and I was like, finally, somebody I can talk to and maybe get some answers. And I went up to her, and at the end of her conversation, she's a sweet lady, very nice, but at the end of her conversation, she's like, Matt, there's really not much you can do. And I'm like, damn, if this lady, if that's her conclusion after all of her study and research is apathy, it's like, come on, what are we going to do? But
we have
anyway,
people come to us that spent 1.6 million. One of the ladies now, she's only 49, 1.6 million on treatment, and it did work. And we've seen a 30% increase in the short-term memory since you've been coming here. Because I truly believe, if you're told you can't get well, Mike, you're not going to get well.
Right.
This is where the subliminal messaging stuff comes in.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe you can get well and you have a team around you that believes you can get well, otherwise they're going to give you your money back anyway. And it's like 6 figures a month to come here. It's a 3-month program. I'm going to refund all that money. If it doesn't work, then all of a sudden we don't advertise. We don't have to do anything. The reason why I do podcasts today is not what people think. People think we go and we ask for get on podcasts, just become famous. No. We turned down 16 podcasts this month alone.
Wow.
Courtney comes out and she finds people, Matt, that are changing the freaking world. And then she humbly comes to you and asks if we can get on. And my job today was to come on, to bond with you and to save a life. And if we've saved one life out there across the world that hears this, that's paid in full, man. I've done my job and you've done your job today. Yeah. That's what it's about, man. It's not about money or prestige. I mean, I don't care about. I leave all that shit to my wife. I just want to help people and get them well.
Nice. All right, Doc.
Go on, baby.
You what's that?
Oh,
boom, baby. That's right. All right, Doc. Well, listen. Thank you again very much. Congrats to you, my friend.
Thank you so
much.
Yes, sir.
And tell us one last thing. Tell us how we can find you again if anyone hearing this is interested in treatment, alcoholism, Alzheimer's therapy.
Yeah, just jump onto the website, ROBBKELLY, robkelly.com is the website, or put Dr. Robb Kelly with 2 B's into any search engine. Up our pot, come follow all the social medias are there. You can get to all our social media, of course, through our website. Scroll to the bottom, click on all, come and friend us, come and say hi. One thing I do want to say before we go, though, is what we found in my struggle is the family were left out. The family didn't know what to do. So if you're a parent, of a teenager that's going through this stuff and you just don't know where to turn to and you're paying for treatment that doesn't work, call the number on the website. I have a special office at the end of the buildings. There's my wife and an assistant in there, and she takes phone calls to parents and guides them. Costs nothing, never will cost anything, never going to sell you a program, and never but was there to give advice to make it a lot easier for you to understand what your son or daughters go through. And you can call out 12 hours a day, and we can spend 12 hours on one phone call. We just want to help you understand what your loved one is going through.
Wow. That's amazing. All right, Doc. Well, listen, thank you again. And listen, everybody, I hope you've learned something. This is amazing information, amazing. So many other attempts to treat alcoholism end in failure, or, they're back again at their 3rd attempt, but this is amazing success rate. So congratulations to you, Doc. I hope you've learned something. I hope you take advantage of the information, and we will see you on the next Hines on Air. This program is being sponsored by Bravos Leadership. Bravos Leadership is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and other business-minded people achieve their goals in business and expand their companies. They provide insight through motivational talks, inspirational stories, but also practical applications of management techniques that you can use to help you grow your company. Information regarding sales, organization, management, and all areas of the company are taught so that you can have a thriving company. Visit bravosleadership.com and find out more information. Hines on Air is for you. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave a review whenever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us reach more people and continue sharing these incredible stories.